So let's talk about the Ranger. The Ranger has the most optional features out of any of the classes, but they also get features that swap out the ones that you would regularly get in the player's handbook. So first up, you get Deft Explorer. Instead of benefits that you would get in a certain terrain, you can gain expertise, languages, enhanced movement, temporary hit points, and quicker relief from exhaustion. It's great for campaigns that doesn't have much travel, or if they're in particularly strange environments for a good amount of time. Favoured Foe swaps out your favoured enemy for a sort of a mini Hunter's Mark spell. It's definitely a strong swap if you'll be facing homebrew monsters or a wide variety of enemies. Additional Ranger spells, most of them are centred around self-sufficiency, and it includes summoning spells for more animal hordes than the Beastmaster subclass offers. For fighting style options, there's blind fighting. You get blind sight and see invisibility to 10 feet. I guess if you have sort of artificer or steampunk elements in your campaign, you could treat this as having sort of night vision goggles for your ranger. That would at least be thematic. Otherwise, I still don't like blind fighting. There's Druidic Warrior. You gain 2 Druid cantrips and you can swap them out as your level. In my opinion, this is only really viable for rangers that are using a two-handed weapon or specifically focusing on spellcasting. Otherwise, there are better fighting styles. There's thrown weapon fighting. You can draw and throw a thrown weapon in the same turn, and you can do +2 damage with thrown ranged attacks. It might be worthwhile for a sort of a stealth-focused ranger build, where every point of damage counts, but most of these builds would probably opt for a crossbow or a longbow instead of a thrown weapon. Back to features, you've got spellcasting focus. You can use a druidic focus for your ranger spells to eliminate material requirements. It's good if your DM is a stickler for that kind of thing, otherwise not really essential. There's Primal Awareness. You swap out the ability to detect certain creatures within a mile for a set of additional spells relating to interacting with nature. Most of these spells are non-combat and flavorful, but it encourages role-playing better than the original Primeval Awareness. Martial Versatility. Swap a fighting style every 4 levels. The Rangers' fighting styles change the way they play much more drastically than other classes, so this should be considered really carefully, especially with regards to your Ranger's role in the party. Nature's Veil. Become magically invisible for a turn instead of naturally camouflaging yourself. It would be good for urban Rangers or campaigns in non-wooded terrains. Primal Companion. A Beastmaster, which is a subclass from the Player's Handbook, can take this, if permitted, to gain more options for animal companions, but they have primal markings to set them apart from regular animals. This looks more like a rework than an optional feature, so I wouldn't have much issue with a player that's only requesting this feature. For Ranger archetypes, you've got the Fae Wanderer, which is a subclass that seems particularly versatile. It's got a small damage boost, improved social skills, a niche enchantment effect, it's got summoning, and at high levels you get free teleports. It's impossible to see how good this is mechanically, but thematically it seems like you could reskin it to almost anything, really. It doesn't have to be Fae as far as I'm concerned. Next you have the Swarm Keeper. You gain a swarm of nature spirits that bolster your attacks, such as additional piercing damage or moving you or enemies around on hit. The Gathered Swarm feature is really poorly written in this book. The attack isn't specified, meaning that you should assume that melee, ranged, and spell attacks are also bolstered by the swarm. And it also doesn't say that the movement has to be to another safe spot. So, as this is written, you could potentially hit someone 600 feet away with a longbow, and your target is suddenly dragged into their own campfire or off a cliff edge by a group of pixies or mosquitoes. Permit with caution.